Let's punch it.
This is Geek Revolution Radio.
A glass case of emotion.
If you're good at something, never do it for free.
They're here.
Why, you scruffy-looking nerf herder.
You had me at hello.
Well, then you are lost.
I call it aggressive negotiations.
Use the Force.
May the Force be with us.
Sabotage!
Hello and welcome to a new edition of Geek Revolution Radio. This is your host, Ryan Bennett, and we are back for another week of geeky goodness. In studio with me this week is the one and the only, the Lando Calrissian of the airwaves, Mr. Johnny McKeon.
It feels good to be back. Feels good to hear that theme song. Gosh, it's been so long.
When I played it again for the first time a couple weeks ago, I was like, oh man, I missed that thing.
Yeah, it's rad, man. I forgot how rad it was.
Yeah, it was funny because like it was probably about 2 or 3 weeks before we brought it back, and I was like, I'm gonna listen to the last episode we did of this show to see like how abrupt it was. It was the season finale of Breaking Bad, and I was like, I want to see how abruptly. Like I'm just like, oh yeah, we'll talk to you next week. Then. And I listened to it when I heard the intro. I was like, man, that was like I remember like how fun it is every time I make a new intro, because like, I usually just go on YouTube and find like famous movie quotes and then just like mash them up with whatever song I like at the time. And we've got some older ones too. I might bust some of those out and do them like throwback versions of
the retro version.
Yeah.
This is an oldie. It's a Geek Revolution Radio oldie.
So you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Geek Rev Radio. Johnny McKeon, you're on Twitter
at Johnny McKeon. Like always, you can also follow my podcast at OLU Radio, and you can also listen to it on KURadio.org. And I just did the I Am Salt Lake podcast. You should definitely check that out. It was a great interview.
Now tell me about the I Am Salt Lake podcast. What is it? What do you do? It sounds to me like it's just like a real let's learn most intimate details about you and your life kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's been comparisons made that it's kind of like Mark Maron, I guess. I don't know. Okay. Chris Holyfield, super talented guy, good friend of mine. I like him a lot. He has this podcast where he interviews interesting people from the Salt Lake City area.
That's cool.
Yeah, so yeah, he did an episode on me on episode 155. You can go to iamsaltlake.com or follow him on Twitter at iamsaltlake.
That's cool. Now, what's going on with Old U Radio?
Old U Radio, man, we're going strong.
I've seen you've been picking up some steam over there, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny to watching you guys on Gate and stuff like that. But you got the podcast going up for that, I saw too.
Yeah, I've been,
even though we're all graduated now.
Yeah, well, I'm close. I got to go to fall, and then I'm done.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, it feels so good. I'm excited. Yeah, KU, we're doing some cool stuff over there. We've been doing 2 episodes a week in the summer, but we're gonna go back to 1 episode a week in the fall. We got some big stuff I can't really talk about yet, but
that's cool. Yeah, I've noticed you guys have had like some huge guests on in the past that are like pretty famous people, comedians and stuff that come through Salt Lake. So if you guys want to check that out, go to KURadio.org and you can download some of those old episodes. How do you feel about graduating soon? I had my last lecture ever at the University of Utah last Wednesday.
Wow, how'd that feel?
My last one ever.
How'd it feel?
It was bittersweet, more sweet than bitter, but it was like it was really like, wow, things are like, because for me, like everything in my life is going to change like over the next 2 weeks. Like I'm moving to a new city, I'm starting a new career, like
starting a new baby.
It's crazy. Yeah, we're gonna have a baby in November. It's like everything's going crazy right now, but it's like it's kind of cool because it feels like it felt like kind of writing the last couple chapters of this chapter, or possibly even the end of this book before we start a new one. It's hard to tell how different it'll be, but
dude, that's beautifully stated. I feel exactly the same way. Like my life, I've gone through so many changes, even since I was last on this show. It's been about almost a year. Like so much has changed. Like I have a job, and
you're working. Yeah. You're semi-famous. You're working over at ABC, right?
Yeah. It's way cool. Channel 4, man.
What are you doing over there?
So I'm part of the production crew. It's a 3-man team. We do teleprompting, floor directing, and camera operators.
This is for the news show, correct?
Yeah, for the news. I shoot everything in studio, like the anchors, the weather person, the sports guy.
Oh, that's fun.
That's all the stuff I shoot, or I prompt, or I floor direct. It's one of the coolest jobs I've ever had.
That's cool. I need to get over there before I leave.
No, seriously.
So I remember we ran into each other at Comic-Con, at Salt Lake Comic Con. I was like, since then I've been like, I need to call him up, see if I can head over there. And
yeah, and if anyone wants a tour, just hit me up on Twitter or whatever. We can work it out. But yeah, no, totally. Come over. Like,
that's cool.
I can give you a tour any day of the week.
That sounds awesome. Yeah. So this last week, for those of you that don't know, there's a game called Destiny that just came out. Well, it's not even out yet. It just had a beta that was released on PS4, and I think the beta for Xbox either is going or is about to start or something like that. But this is basically the game that our friends from Bungie that created and made Halo, 1 through 4, have branched up. Well, they haven't branched off. They got fired by Microsoft.
I was gonna say.
I guess that's one thing. Microsoft gave them the shove off for some reason. I don't really know why, because they were, Halo 4 was like their most highly successful game they've ever had. But so they were like, well, screw you. We're going to go make this game called Destiny, which is basically, it's real similar to Halo, except for I describe it as it's similar to Halo, but a lot less cartoonish.
So I don't know anything about this.
This is
at all.
It's awesome. So they had a beta this last week. It's like, it takes place on Earth, kind of.
Yeah.
You're kind of like on the Earth and on Moon and on this weird like space.
Is it like a colony?
It's almost like a Death Star, actually, but it's like for the good guys, I guess.
Okay.
And it's very futuristic. Like Earth has been mostly destroyed. We're trying to fight back and win it back from this alien race and stuff like that.
Are we in a bubble? Is it like in the
dome? Kind of, yeah. Like the thing that most of like the Guardians and stuff live on is like this. It's like a Death Star, but it's white.
Well, I'm pretty sure it'll be good.
It's awesome. Like sure. I played in the beta just the other day, and it's first of all, it's cross-platform, that's nice. Awesome, because then I don't have to buy an Xbox. I can stick with my PS4. But I think it's going to be huge. The graphics, like this is one of those games where it's in 1080p and it's so beautiful. Like as like stuff is going on in the sky and all around you, like you stop in the game and like make your character look up at the sky as like ships fly by because it's so pretty. So it's amazing. I know there's a lot of people out there that have been playing in the beta, and I thought it was awesome. I played till about level 7 or so, and it's cool because it's got like the right mixes of a first-person shooter and the right mixes of an MMO. It's almost like the first-person shooter MMO, where you can get on there and you can play with your friends, or you can play certain levels you have to play it with 3 people, and if you're on there still playing by yourself, it'll just grab 2 other people that are on the internet that want to play the same game as you, or level as you, and put you in there, and then you guys will basically do the quest or mission together.
Oh wow.
And it's way fun. It's hard. It's kind of hard at first, at least for me, because I haven't played a first-person shooter in a long time, like probably Black Ops, the first one.
Yeah, I just started playing first-person shooters again.
They're a lot of fun, but it's like it takes a minute to get used to it. I've found that my strong suit right now is a sniper rifle, because I can hide like way off in the distance and just take aliens' heads off and stuff. But I'm really excited for the guys over at Bungie. I always kind of thought they got a bad deal from Microsoft, and it's good to see that they're releasing this game that is just I think it's going to be amazing once people start playing it. When they release the full version, I think hopefully it's going to beat out Halo, but we'll see. They're doing some cool stuff with Halo too, but Halo also, I should say. But anyway, so this last week, I wanted to talk about this. Yeah. This is the Geek Revolution Radio podcast. We never shy away from Star Wars topics.
Never.
Did you see the video this last week of the blue X-Wing fighter?
No, I haven't seen. I heard about it.
So I can pull up a photo of you, but that's J.J. Abrams, and he keeps doing these videos, for those of you that don't know, for the Star Wars Force for Change charity, where he shoots these videos telling you to donate to it, but he shoots them on set, like when stuff is going on.
That's really cool.
The first one they did, he was like on Tatooine, and there was like these little aliens and stuff like in costumes walking by him. He's just totally like trying to get you to donate to this charity, acting like this is the world that he actually lives in, which makes me super jealous. But this last week he did a video, or a couple weeks ago, where he's standing right next to what I would describe as a X-Wing fighter with a blue stripe instead of a red stripe.
Yeah, what's that about?
I don't know. And also notice it only has the single engine. Like X-Wing fighters, they had 2 right on top of each other on each wing.
They split,
and they would open into an X, but unless this one's engine splits in half or something, this is basically an X-Wing fighter that doesn't open into the X.
Yeah, so, I wonder, maybe it's like a custom job by like Luke Skywalker's
know. I mean, but like look at the soundstage behind him in the picture too. Like it's so cool that like this is happening as we record this show. There is somewhere in the world, actually there's about 3 places in the world where they are making Star Wars. And J.J. Abrams just totally, just like the other video, casually just shot this video like it was nothing. And about 3/4 of the way through the video, a rebel pilot just comes walking into the screen. You can see him sitting down, just walks into the screen, climbs up the ladder and sits down. Like, at first he's like, JJ is standing in his way. He's like, excuse me. He's like, oh, sorry. He steps back, keeps talking. The guy goes right past him, jumps up the ladder, gets in the X-Wing and gets to the end. And I'm just like, this is like the coolest way ever to, one, show what you've been up to, and two, like actually do it for a good cause, which is even probably the more amazing part of it.
All I was thinking was he like walking up drinking his coffee, like all right, like puts out a cigarette.
I guess we'll go fight the Imperial Army of the Imperials now. I don't know,
like all committed.
Or whoever the villain is. We're just rebel pilots, day in, day out. What are we gonna do, right?
It's a life, it's a job, clock in, clock out.
Gotta make a living fighting for the rebels. It's just like the coolest thing ever. And it kind of reminds me of there was rumors going around that he had built a full-size Millennium Falcon to shoot the movie.
What?
Like inside and out replica for shooting of the movie.
How big is that supposed to be?
It's huge. I've seen they've since released pictures of it on TMZ. It's gigantic. Like it's huge.
Is it like the size of how big is the Millennium Falcon? Is it like the size of like a bus? Like
it's the size of about 6. It's probably about 3 buses long, I would say, at least. And probably about 3 or 4 buses wide.
Okay,
I would say. I mean,
okay.
it's pretty.
So that is
actually,
pretty big.
It's probably a lot wider than that.
Yeah.
But because it's kind of circular in shape.
Well, I didn't really know how to measure it.
It's huge. Like they just released the pictures, and then I guess these were picture leaks or whatever, and. So he wrote a letter and he said, I wish everybody would stop saying that the Millennium Falcon, leaking photos of them, then saying that the Millennium Falcon is in the next Star Wars Episode 7. He signs it J.J. Abrams. Well, he put the letter on that, that little chessboard that's in the Millennium Falcon on there, and he took a picture of it sitting on there, and it's like, oh, you JJ, you got us. Like he's like,
good.
Let me deny the rumor by confirming it. You know, like it's just it's so exciting. Yeah,
he owned it. That's super smart.
I assume you're looking forward to Star Wars. Probably not as much as me. But
I'm gonna watch them. Yeah, I'm excited. Look, as long as it's good.
It seems like they're making like the right steps to make the right mix of new technology. But also, this is going to be in the universe of the original trilogy. It seems like. I mean, we're looking at an X-wing fighter right now, so it's
It's going to be kind of scaled back from like our expectations.
Yeah, before midichlorians and all this kind of stuff. But I don't know. I think it's really exciting, and I'm just really looking forward to it.
I want it to be super high tech. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, I've heard that what they're doing is they're making they're going to blend like real life models like they did in the original trilogy. With CGI, they're going to use the two together.
That'll be weird.
Which
it'll be exciting.
It could, like, if he does it right, it could change the way that like filmmaking is done. Because right now, most of it's done with like green and blue screens everywhere,
one or the other. Yeah,
and it's. I assume that this would be a lot better from an actor's perspective too to have all of this. But
do you think it's going to be 3D and all that tenet, all that stuff?
There's I don't
like with the Hobbit. Remember the 40 frames per second?
Now,
all that.
I do hope if they do it in 3D, I hope that they're shooting it at 48 frames per second.
Yeah, okay.
Because I saw that in IMAX, and that's the way that live action 3D needs to be seen, is in that 48 frames per second, because it just looks so pretty.
It was so crisp. It was like watching a play. It was weird.
But I don't know. On one hand, I would say it probably won't be because it's Star Wars, but then again, they did start to release the original. They did Episode 1, and they were planning on doing the other 5 movies before Disney bought out Lucasfilm in 3D. So I guess it's not crazy to think that it could happen, but so there was another thing I wanted to talk to you about, and I think I actually closed the page, but there's rumors going around right now that it's not even rumor. I think they've actually got a director at this point, but they're going to do a Power Rangers movie, and it's going to be a reboot. It's going to be a reboot, but it's going to be. It sounds more like it's going to be like a sequel as well, because it is going to take place in the like time lapse of the original series. And I don't know about you, but I grew up watching Power Rangers.
Yeah, Zach, that was my boy.
Yeah, and I was reading an article about it earlier today, and I didn't think I'm like, this is one of those things where it could work, or it could be a disaster. But I thought back to Salt Lake Comic Con this last April when they had the Fan Expo, and they had Jason what's his name, Jason David Frank, that's the Green Ranger. He was out there, and I went to the panel because I loved the Power Rangers when I was a kid.
Everyone loved the Green Ranger.
And he took a lot of questions from the crowd, and when they asked him about like doing things as the Green Ranger, like doing like side films or doing like like one-offs and like little small films as the Green Ranger, he got oddly silent, and he said, I don't I don't want to do too much, and I don't want to do it without the permission of Saban, who makes Power Rangers, in case they ever decide to bring me back. And I think that he was actually dropping like a teeny little Easter egg at the time, where he was saying there's actually this movie that's going to happen, and he's probably going to be brought back, I would assume, as one of the Rangers, because he looks exactly the same, first of all, and he's probably in better shape now than he was then.
He's in crazy good shape.
But it didn't make much sense why he was like, oh, I just don't want to offend them in case they put me in something in the future. And I'm like, it's Saban. The only thing they've ever made is Power Rangers.
Looks like they're going
to be making more Power Rangers. So it makes a lot of sense. But I just thought that was funny, and maybe it can confirm or deny the fact that he is going to star in the movie, which I think would be awesome. Like if they brought back the entire old cast, depending on, I guess, where they're at, but I don't know. I haven't seen any of the other guys.
I've seen the Black Ranger. He still looks the same too.
I saw the Blue Ranger too. He came out to Comic-Con, I think, the first time out here.
Really?
And he looks a little older, but exactly. I mean, he still wears the same glasses. They'll
probably
his hair the same. And
probably like raise their kids or teach their kids to do it or something.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but it's interesting that they're doing a movie in the reboot, not like it's been traditionally a TV series.
Do you think that's going to go to theaters? Do you think the movie? Do you think it'll be like a Netflix or like a Redbox movie?
This could be like a perfect thing for Netflix, honestly. Like, I don't know if Netflix is looking to get into the movie market quite yet because they're just killing it in the TV area, but this could be this could be like an on-demand thing where it might make more sense as on-demand because like doing a huge theatrical release might not make off of it, you know?
Yeah, they should do that with Firefly.
They could. Oh man,
that'd be cool.
I'm surprised Netflix hasn't picked that up.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
If Joss Whedon had never made the Avengers, I suspect that we would probably be in season 2 or 3 of Firefly by now.
Well, because I mean, think about it. Like,
they brought back Arrested Development.
Community's
coming back on Yahoo.
Is like saved its life like 10 times. Firefly fans are like, what's going on? What are they doing?
When do we get ours? It's like, well, you could do it, but your creator is making $1 billion movie franchise right now, so there's that. You know, it's like, speaking of summer box office movies, you brought this up earlier. I wanted to have a discussion about basically. There's been some movies this summer that have like made it big, but as far as like the last 2 summers, we just don't have as many and quite the caliber of blockbusters as we're used to.
Yeah, the summer box office is underperforming. Variety wrote an article about that.
It's interesting because, first of all, I think that movies like Transformers 4 are probably the reason because it was just terrible. I don't know if you saw Transformers 4.
Nah, I didn't like Transformers 1 or 2.
It was just an unforgivable film.
So what was bad about it? Just real quick.
I thought it was my airing of grievance last week.
I'll have to catch up.
It basically, and it wasn't even the fact that it was Mark Wahlberg was bad. He wasn't really. I mean, he was Mark Wahlberg as he is in every film, but there was a combination of it being way too long, the Dinobots only being in like the last 15-20 minutes of the movie, them making a reincarnate of Megatron that was called something not Megatron that was stupid, and he was barely even in the film.
Oh, you're boring me already.
It was they had his daughter was in the film. They kept reiterating that she was 17 years old, but we kept getting all the boob shots, all the Megan Fox ass shots that they do in all the other
the gratuitous
films, just gratuitous. But they reiterated like 4 or 5 different times in the movie that she was only 17.
Why?
So I'm like,
make people feel bad.
That's what I was. I was in the theater. I was in the theater watching it, going just like this. Every time they show me like that crotch shot of her short shorts from below, and all you have is the little fabric going between her legs. I'm like, why are they showing us this on a 17-year-old? Like, this is
why
is Michael Bay doing this? I don't understand. And after I saw that movie, like, first of all, there were so many cheesy lines in it.
Yeah.
There were people that were laughing in the movie, not like laughing at the jokes that Megatron or Optimus or whatever made, but laughing just like, wow, that was such a bad line.
Oh, they were laughing at the bombs.
And they were laughing at the bad jokes. And it just, I walked to that movie going, this is the guy whose production company is making the Ninja Turtle reboot that's coming out in a couple months.
Yeah.
And that has me really worried for that film.
Dude, let's get right into that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I
think it's the right time for a movie reboot.
Yeah, it is.
Don't get me wrong. I'm excited that there is going to be a new edition of the Ninja Turtles. Who is making it? I don't know if I necessarily like that.
Let me preface this. I am a diehard Ninja Turtles fan. The very first Ninja Turtles is one of the first movies I ever watched. It has a special place in my heart. I keep that on my desk because I pop it in all the time. I love that movie.
I've got them on Blu-ray.
It's dark. Even the second one's really good too. But I really hope that they capture the darkness of that first one. Like that would be really cool.
The first one was pretty gritty.
Yeah.
Like when you go back and watch it, like Raph almost dies. They have to go retreat in the woods.
Yeah, he
like,
gets the crap beat out of him.
Yeah,
They just kinda, nurse
they're
him.
not sure if he's dead or alive.
They're just watering him.
Casey is always a dark character throughout all three of the movies, which I really liked. And
is there Casey Jones in this one?
I don't know.
I bet he'll make a cameo.
I don't know.
I bet.
I hope they get that same actor because he was great. He was great.
Elias
as Casey.
Codius. Yeah. You know what I bet they would do? I bet they'll show like April's running and he'll, some guy will trip him. And then they'll show like he has like a hockey gear, you know?
Hockey mask, something will fly out of a bag.
Exactly. And then he picks it up and he's like, I'm Casey Jones.
I don't know because Will Arnett's in it too, but he doesn't play Casey. He plays some other random.
He plays like her news boss, I think.
Yeah, which I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what direction they're going with this because
I don't know.
The cartoon series that came out a couple years ago was certainly dark.
Yeah.
Compared to the 90s cartoon, for example. But this one, I'm looking at it, I'm like, we've got animated turtles that are jokey, obviously.
Yeah.
And we've got Will Arnett, made by Michael Bay. I don't know. It could be.
I don't know because the problem is there's a big cross generational gap because the kids today grew up with a Ninja Turtles different than the one we grew up with.
Yeah.
So who knows?
They grew up with ones that were serious about being heroic and fighting crime, whereas our guys they when can we get done with this crime fighting so we can go get some pizza?
Yeah, they're more like stoners. Yeah, they're like, come on, pizza, man.
Yeah, they were like
let's
stoners.
Let's wrap this up.
That's a perfect way to describe it. The 90s Ninja Turtles cartoon series, they were like stoners.
They just beat up people.
They
and smoke
skateboarded
weed.
everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. They just
lived in
lived
the sewer.
life. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know what the tone is. Who is this movie for?
And people keep reiterating, that Michael Bay's production company made this. It wasn't Michael Bay himself, like it was with Transformers. Transformers was directed by Michael Bay. This was not directed by Michael Bay. The fact that they don't have Andy Serkis and they're doing some sort of motion capture,
it's probably too expensive.
Had me worried at the get go. Nothing's too expensive. For Michael
Ray
Bay.
Park should be involved.
Ray Park should absolutely have been one of the turtles.
He should be a turtle without a doubt, or a villain.
Star Wars is Darth Maul, and he played
Sleepy Hollow.
What was he in G.I. Joe? He played
Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes. Yeah. I saw him at Comic-Con a couple of. He's in amazing shape.
Yeah, he always is. He's a pro.
Man, he's great.
He's a professional badass.
He is, and he that stuff. Those are his moves. I don't know this Ninja Turtles thing though. It could be awesome. It'd be really easy to make an awesome Ninja Turtles movie, or if they gave his production company a lot of the creative control, it could ruin it easily.
I do know a couple things. I do know that Shredder is going to be a lot smaller than all of them. The motion body person that they used was a smaller person.
Well, I saw a trailer with Shredder in it a week or two ago, and I don't know if this is how he's going to be in the entire film, but it was definitely Super Shredder.
Yeah.
There was no doubt about it that this is the Shredder that is drank a ton of views.
Well, and obviously they showed William Finchner. He's the guy from The Dark Knight at the very beginning of the movie.
Right.
Yeah, he's always a bad guy, so I'm 90% sure he's Shredder.
Yeah.
90% sure.
I could see that. I mean...
He's always
it could
the
be
bad
great.
guy.
Who knows? We're going to find out 2 weekends from now.
Yeah, probably.
So it comes out August 8th, I believe. So that'll be interesting. But coming out this weekend is a movie that I think is going to flop.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Dwayne Johnson's first real hard flop. It's Hercules.
Yeah, I've heard about Hercules for the past year because I follow Dwayne Johnson and stuff. And I've never once been excited. He's like, new pictures. I'm like, I didn't even click on him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's like, oh yeah, here I am in Budapest.
Well, even when I saw the trailer, the first time the trailer came out, I was like, You know,
look on your face, just no.
What is he? I am Hercules. I was like, I could definitely tell he worked out a ton for this role, and he's super ripped, and he looks like Hercules. But I think this is going to be like that movie Immortals that came out, where it's it was made by the guy who made 300, but it was also his worst film by a long shot, where it was this movie is just terrible.
Yeah,
I didn't like Immortals, and I didn't box office. Most people didn't, but
I don't.
I think Hercules could be one of those films though that gets kind of lost in the buzz of summer, and being that there's not a lot of people going to see movies right now anyway, I don't think Hercules is going to be the movie to get people out to see it.
Well, do you think? I think there's been too many blockbusters this summer. I feel like it's saturated.
No. I just don't think they've been the right kind of blockbusters. There's been a lot of first of its kinds blockbusters, with the exception of maybe the Transformers.
Yeah.
But last summer and the summer before, it seems like 2012 and 2013 summer, they had much bigger films, and that I think might be partly due to the reason why they made more money in those.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't even have like a Marvel Studios film this summer
Yeah.
at all. I mean, we had X-Men, but that's of course our friends over at Fox.
And then Spider-Man, and then
Yeah, and that's over at Sony. So I don't know. And next summer we're gonna have. I shouldn't say we're not gonna have any. We're gonna have Guardians of the Galaxy. I guess that's coming out in 2 weekends, I believe, August 1st. How do you think it's gonna? Do you think it's gonna do well? I think that it'll do. I think it's gonna do really good money.
It's a more specific source context for
Absolutely.
like a comic book fan.
But you gotta also think about Iron Man. Iron Man was as obscure as Guardians of the Galaxy, as I would say.
You can argue that. I think the fact that they're releasing this now as like instead of leading off with something like this, I think they have a good chance of doing well.
At the back end of the summer.
Yeah, with the track record that Marvel has, I'm sure they've got that momentum. But I mean,
it's got Chris Pratt in it, and he's been like he's blown up in the last couple of years. He was in a Lego movie. He's in everything that's big.
Dude, he's an A-lister now. He's officially an A-lister.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he might have had one of the quickest climbs to being an A-lister that I think I've ever seen. But
yeah, he kills it on Parks and Rec, and now he's in movies. Man.
Yeah, and he's very in shape too. I've noticed. I saw the trailer, and as soon as I saw Rocket Raccoon, I was like, "Well, there's a rocket, there's a raccoon, and he's got a machine gun, and I'm going."
Yeah, he's kind of like a good-looking ugly guy.
Yeah,
like he plays like the schlubby guy, but you clean him up and he looks good. You know, he's perfect. Like I don't know. I'm excited. I like a lot of his work. I'll probably see it. You know?
I'm definitely going to go see it. There's no doubt about that. And I think enough time will clear, because we've got Hercules this weekend, and I don't think that a lot of people are going to come out.
No.
But Marvel Studios, even their one-off films tend to do really, really well.
Yeah.
And this, I think they've been promoting it the right way.
I don't know. I think Lucy might give it a run for its money because I know that's coming out too. Yeah.
What is Lucy?
Lucy, it's by Luc Besson. He does Taken, La Femme Nikita, nonstop movies like that. He made this movie with Scarlett Johansson where she uses 100% of her brain.
Oh, that's right.
That?
Okay, yeah.
Morgan Freeman's in it. He's explaining stuff. A lot of people like that.
Morgan Freeman's narrating.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah, you never know.
Lego movie success could be based on that.
Yeah.
You never know.
You never know. You never know.
I don't know.
Like, I know definitely I want to see Lucy more than Guardians.
Do you?
Right now, yeah.
See, Guardians, I think, could be one of those things where I don't know much about it, and I think I'm going to be pleasantly surprised with how much I enjoy it because it looks like it's one of those Marvel movies where it's going to be super comedic in nature.
Well, they're pulling it from the comic book, and it's a good comic.
I've never read any of the Guardians.
It's a good one. It's funny. It's quirky.
That's cool.
It's good stuff. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna take a break, and when we go back, we're basically gonna spend the entire last segment of this show talking about TV.
Yep.
So that'll be fun. We're gonna talk about some Wonder Years and Goldberg crossover. We got to talk about The Simpsons. We've got all kinds of fun stuff coming up. We're gonna get into some Netflix stuff too. So hang tight. This is Geek Revolution Radio.
Hi, it's Fisher, host of Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show. Are you digging up the dirt on your dead? Want to find out how? Hear the latest on new family history sources and websites with interesting and fun guests and experts. Find out what other people have been learning about their ancestors. From kings to thieves, inventors to farmers. Nothing that's been discovered should surprise us anymore, but it always does. Find out what we mean. Catch our podcasts on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and ExtremeGenes.com. And download our free Extreme Genes podcast app for your iPhone or Android. And remember, as far as everyone knows, we're a nice, normal family.
Hello, everybody. I am Sir Kayak.
And I am Sir Axeman.
And we are hosts of the Knights of the Clown Table podcast
on BoboBroadcasting.com.
Tune in each week to hear us talk about an array of topics such as booze, gambling, cigars, women, sports, and other random observations,
as well as other random violent acts.
You can find our weekly show on iTunes,
Stitcher,
BlackBerry Podcast app,
and directly from our website at BoboBroadcasting.com. That's BOBO Broadcasting.com.
That's right. Knights of the Clown Table podcast on BoboBroadcasting.com.
Check it out.
Tune in, listen, love it,
slap it,
flip it,
and dip it. And back to the tables, my friend.
Let's go, my pal. I'm all in. BoboBroadcasting.com.
Thanks for listening to Geek Revolution Radio. Give us a thumbs up at Facebook.com/Geek Revolution Radio.
And welcome back to Geek Revolution Radio. This is your host, Ryan Bennett, and I am joined by the one and only Johnny McKeon.
Yo, yo.
And earlier today when we were discussing what are we going to talk about on today's show, TV was almost like the first thing that came up.
Yep.
And I've come to realize over the last little bit, I am a TV junkie.
Yeah,
like
you are.
I watch everything, and I want to watch more. Like if there's something that people are like, oh, have you seen this? It's so good, you got to watch it. I'm like, well, I'm going to watch it now.
Yep.
And I'll blow through the whole thing. I'm just about finished with Orange is the New Black season 2, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But
Yeah.
I was looking at the news this week, and I don't know. Have you been watching the Goldbergs at all?
It's on my station,
Oh,
so
you need to watch it.
I know I need to. Like, it's so hard.
It's
like,
so
'cause I'm always
funny, and
working when
it's
on.
just like a little sitcom. It's like you don't have to follow the whole season arc. You can just catch an episode here or there. And this is honestly one of my favorite comedies on TV right now.
Well, I know there's a lot of heavy hitters in there. You know, you got Jeff Garlin, and you've got Wendy McCloven Levy, and that younger kid. He was in like Drillbit Taylor.
He was in Nacho Libre as Nacho when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Like I was watching Nacho the other day. I was like, holy crap, it's Barry Goldberg.
Yeah,
Like,
that
who knew?
kid's funny. Like they've got a lot of good pieces. I just haven't had the chance to watch it.
I don't know. I really like the show, and there, of course, it immediately got picked up for its second season because it's been hugely successful.
Yep.
I think it's on ABC, right?
Yes, it is. It's on ABC.
And when I heard this news came out this week that Fred Savage of the Wonder Years, the main character in the Wonder Years, is going to write and direct one of the episodes of Goldbergs this next season.
That's gonna be great. He does such a good job. He also directs It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, he does? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
I was looking at it and I was like, I think one of the reasons why I like the Goldbergs is because it's done in the same vein as the Wonder Years. Like it's kind of a coming of age tale,
And it's back
which
in the 80s.
I always love a good coming of age. Yeah, and I didn't even put that together that it also takes place in the 80s.
Yeah.
The two shows take place, like one was actually in the 80s and this one is a period piece that takes place in the 80s, but I think he's perfect on it. Honestly, I hope he makes like some kind of a side role in the show.
That'd be cool for him to come back.
Yeah, it'd be hilarious.
It'd be weird to see Fred Savage all grown up.
Yeah.
Princess Bride. He was in everything.
He was in a lot when he was a kid, but he was also, as an adult, he was in some of the Austin Powers movies.
Yeah, mole.
If you remember that. Yeah, he had the mole on his face.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was in some huge. It's kind of funny that he's not in and out of rehab or dead because he was in a lot of huge movies as a kid.
Dude, he was a superstar as a kid.
Yeah. Wow. Kind of along that same vein, his little brother is in. This is Fred Savage's little brother, Ben Savage, is in a new show on Disney, and I watched this show just because I loved Boy Meets World. They're doing a new show called Girl Meets World. It's basically for the new generation.
We talked about it once, like back on the old episode. So you've seen it now. How is? I still haven't seen it.
I watched the third episode. It's on Fridays. It's funny because it premieres on Fridays, and usually in TV, that's where shows go to die, except for on the Disney Channel because they know
TGI Friday.
This is when kids are at home, their parents are on date night, and they're just going to sit at home and watch the Disney Channel. So they premiere everything on Friday.
Boy Meets World was on TGIF when we were kids.
Yeah, I love that show. Like for me, after the Wonder Years ended, I almost immediately went over because I watched it kind of on delay.
Yeah,
I didn't watch the Wonder Years when it was on. I might have. I don't know. I didn't watch it live, but
time to time.
Then I saw Boy Meets World, and like I didn't even put together until years later that this is that same guy's little brother doing basically the same show.
Same kind of show.
With he had instead of having a geeky best friend, he had like a bad boy best friend.
Yeah.
But
Sean.
Yeah, I have like. Okay, so you got to understand about Girl Meets World. It is a Disney TV show.
Oh, so it's Hannah Montana style.
No,
like
okay,
Disney-fied?
so it is Disney-fied, but only minimally.
Okay,
it's very slight. It's not super annoying like Lizzie McGuire and all these other like shows where it's like way over the top with the type of horrible comedy they haven't. Like I watch it and I laugh probably every 3 minutes at least at a joke because they made it. I read an article about it and they made it. When they came and approached everyone about coming back and making this show, they said, yes, we'll do it, but only if it's done like kind of in vein of the old show.
Yeah.
If it has callbacks to that, if we're actively involved and has kind of the same humor, which it does.
So everyone's back? Is the brother back?
We haven't seen, not everybody's back yet. Okay. I've heard that they are. Like the only one we've seen so far is really just Corey and Topanga.
Sean
and then not Sean.
No Ryder
not
Strong?
yet. Not yet.
No.
I hope he's gonna be in it.
My favorite.
There was Feeney had a slight cameo in the first episode.
Slight cameo.
Yeah, like he was like almost like a Force Ghost version of himself. But I'll tell you what, the girl that plays his daughter in that show, I find her hilarious. I don't know if it's just me, but her personality on that show, she is just funny and she is like really charismatic, and I think the show's really going to work. I think Girl Meets World. It's been 3 episodes now. The first episode could have been lightning in a bottle. It's like, this is our best idea. A pilot episode is usually really good anyway. But now that we're 3 in, I think this is a show that's gonna stick and it's gonna be around for a little while.
Just one question: how does Topanga look?
She looks good.
Yeah.
She's actually thinner now than she was in that show. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Topanga. She broke so many young boys' hearts.
She does not look Winnie Cooper good, but she does look good.
That's good. Good to hear.
Okay, while we're talking about shows that have been on the air for 25 years now, The Simpsons has been all over the news for like literally the past month. Whether we're talking about the final season that's coming up, whether we're talking about the 12-day marathon that they're going to be doing on FXX, they're going to do how many episodes did it say that it was?
It's up to like 500, isn't it?
Oh,
22
so many episodes. I can't see it here in the article off the top, but it's going to be, wow. They're going to do the whole thing basically all at once, which is
continuously
crazy to me.
Well, I don't know how they're going to do the 12 hours because like you're going to go to sleep and wake up and be behind.
So they're just running it 12 hours at a time, I guess.
I don't know. Are they going to do...
I can't tell. I can't even find how many episodes. Here, keep talking.
Okay, I'll let's see.
So what do you like about The Simpsons?
Okay, here's what I like about The Simpsons. Simpsons was one of the first shows I ever watched when I moved to America. Like when I'm back in like 1990.
Canadian Johnny McKeon.
Yeah, I was a Canadian. Now I'm a citizen. And yeah, we used to watch it on my pocket TV, and we loved that show so much that we would plug it into a stereo and then record it onto a tape, an audio tape. So we would have an audio tape.
Just listen
of the
to the audio version.
Yeah, we used to listen to Mr. Lisa Goes to Washington all the time on the way to school. Dad would play that for us to listen to.
I've been watching this show like literally ever since I can remember.
Yeah, me too.
I haven't watched it much in the recent years because it was like kind of those things where it's like, wow, that show's still on.
I had to slow down.
Basically, once Family Guy started, that's when I switched over to Family Guy.
Yeah.
Looks like there's been 552 episodes of this show, so that's gonna be quite the marathon. But it's amazing to see the success of this show. There's no doubt about that.
There's no show like it.
There's no show that is like it originally. There's a lot of shows since then that are just like it. Pretty much any animated comedy on TV will be like, yes, we are just doing what The Simpsons did, just a little differently. Yeah. So that's going to be awesome. I'm really excited about this marathon. But even more than that, I'm like you. I don't have time to sit 12 hours a day and watch anything. I like to get my stuff on demand. So they're launching this thing called the Simpsons World app for people that are subscribed to FXX, where you can basically have all the episode Simpsons on demand on your phone. I assume your Google Chromecast will probably have apps for TVs, computers, basically like Netflix, but with just the Simpsons. And
isn't this cool how this is how TV's turning out? Like,
it's great.
I love the fact that there's now more mediums. Like there's more room to watch TV now because you can deliver it in all these different ways.
And I can watch it on my time.
Exactly. Right when you want, you can binge watch it. That's the best thing.
That's my favorite thing about Netflix original programming is I can watch the whole series in a night if I want.
Yeah.
It's great. But they're also doing, in addition to that, I don't know if you've heard about this, but in The Simpsons on this last season, they're going to have a Futurama crossover where Bender comes back to try and kill Bart Simpson because of some future implication that he does. But even more interesting to that for me, The Simpsons this next fall are going to be on The Family Guy.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Where in The Family Guy, they go on a road trip and end up in Springfield. And I've been told, this sounds so exciting to me, but I've been told that Homer Simpson and Peter Griffin are gonna have a fight scene.
Nice,
like him and the chicken always do. It's gonna be great.
And like Homer back in the old days.
I've heard that they argue over which beer is better, the Duff beer or the Pawtucket beer.
Oh, cool!
That's what starts the fight.
That's great.
It's gonna be like, and I know that the guys that make what's his name that makes Family Guy, Seth MacFarlane. Like, he makes all kinds of Simpsons jokes all the time, and he'll be the first person to tell you that without the Simpsons, he never even would have thought or dreamed up the Family Guy because he's such a huge fan of the Simpsons. So I can imagine for him, the Simpsons coming over, being on his show finally before they go basically off the air, is he gets basically, here's the toolbox, play with all the tools, you know what I mean? It's going to be awesome. He's got all the voice actors going to be on it. I mean, it's going to be
What a way to end a show. That's such a cool move.
It is.
Classy move.
I don't know. I kind of feel like The Simpsons has been a little stale. I mean, once you start getting like Sideshow Mel's backstory in an episode, it's like, okay, I think we've kind of beat this dog into the ground. But I know the Futurama and the Family Guy crossovers, those sound to me like it's going to be amazing.
Do you think they'll ever make another Simpsons movie? It was a hit.
They could. I could see that. I could see them doing another movie after this.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny that they haven't made another movie, actually.
It was a big hit. I don't know.
I guess we'll see what happens, but I probably will DVR the last season of both, obviously Family Guy, but also The Simpsons this last season, just to have it and watch it. But okay, so let's talk a little bit more about great TV. I assume you're caught up with Breaking Bad.
Pretty much, yeah.
Better Call Saul premieres this November.
Yeah, I'm actually a big fan of Bob Odenkirk, the guy who plays Saul, just
since
in general.
Mr. Show, right?
Yeah, like he is one of the most talented guys in Hollywood.
Yeah,
like he really is. He can write, he can act, he's in everything, man.
Vince Gilligan said about Bob Odenkirk when they asked like why did you pick him for a dramatic role when he hasn't really played in dramas. He's like I always knew he'd be a good dramatic actor. It's just too bad that Bob Odenkirk doesn't know that.
Yeah.
This was on season 3 of that show, and now it's like now
Fargo?
And it's like now this is gonna be I think Fargo was the first thing you saw him in something dramatic actually. Then he made Breaking Bad, and now basically you have an entire show that's gonna be circling around just Bob Odenkirk's character Saul, and
the slimy lawyer.
There's been rumors that have been coming out that everyone thought it was going to be a prequel to the whole events of Breaking Bad. I've heard that this is going to take place before, during, and after the events of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
For me, I'm excited to see what happens to Saul after the events of Breaking Bad, when everybody knows that Heisenberg, they found him, they caught him, they figure out this whole blue meth empire was his. Obviously, they're going to have a ton of footage. A lot of people are going to know that guy has been in Saul's office a lot.
Yeah.
What is the blowout going to be? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, but I think it's going to go into a really dark place because, of course, it's Vince Gilligan on AMC. So I'm excited, though. I don't know how long it's going to run or how many seasons he's planning on doing. It could just be a miniseries. Who knows?
Do you think it's too soon to do this,
No.
or you think it's right on time?
I think it's just right. Yeah. I really do. I mean, even though it just ended last year, I think it's a perfect time.
Okay.
Especially if Vince Gilligan thinks it's the right time.
Yeah, that is true.
Because I certainly know there was no pressure at all on him at all.
Yeah.
He just came to ANC and he said, Breaking Bad's over. I kind of been playing around with this idea. Here's a script I wrote for a show called Better Call Saul. And AMC immediately greenlit it. And then about halfway through shooting and filming, they've already greenlit it for, I think, another season or two if he wants to do it.
Yeah.
So
Man,
that I think is interesting. Getting greenlit before it's even premiered, like
that's Vince Gilligan. That's what you do when you make Breaking Bad. They kind of let you just do what you want.
I think AMC is like, let's see, Breaking Bad and Mad Men are ending this year. We gotta have something.
Yeah, give it to me. I was like, we have to bring back Hell on Wheels.
We're gonna have to just change the name of AMC to the show that the channel that The Walking Dead's on.
Yeah. Walking Dead TV.
Oh man, I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to it. Now, you wanted to have a conversation before we get into Netflix about kind of this new trend that's been going on with shows like True Detective, American Horror Story, Fargo is doing it, as I understand.
These shows they're replacing their main characters every season.
Yeah. It's basically like a miniseries, but every season it's a new miniseries.
And it's like a reboot or something. It's really weird, but I kind of like it. Like I think it makes for better storytelling, and I think it really works with American Horror Story.
Absolutely, it works with American Horror Story because it's one of those shows where if you didn't watch the first season or the second season, you don't have to catch up. You just have to start watching the new one.
I still haven't even seen all of the second season. Like I've seen the first and the third. The third was great.
The third was great.
Coven, I loved it.
I wanted a lot less of what's her singer's name though. Like it feels like they put her in it just because they could get her.
Which one? Who are you talking about?
The one girl was obsessed with. That's a singer from the 80s, 70s, and 80s.
Who are you talking about?
She was in that Stills and Nash. What's her name? Crosby?
I have no clue.
I can't think about it. I'll look it up. Anyway.
So yeah, it's about American Horror Story Coven. They brought back characters from both of the previous seasons, but they play new roles in the show, and I think that's really cool.
Well, it's kind of like a grab bag too of who they bring back.
Yeah, you never know because who knows? Because Spock was in season 1, but he wasn't in season 2, but he wasn't in season 3
because Star Trek.
yeah, probably because
I would
of that.
say I don't know if that's the reason why he wasn't in it, but there was definitely some spots that he could have done. He was in season 3, correct?
Yeah.
Where or was
no
it
2, 1 and 2.
Yeah, he could have definitely had an awesome part in season 3. So
Yeah.
I kind of suspect they were filming this at the same time that into Star Trek Into Darkness was going on.
Yeah, that's probably why.
But I don't know.
Yeah, it was a cool show.
So what's this next season going to be about? Have they even released it?
It's Freak Show. I guess it's about like one of the last. I think it takes place in like the 50s or 60s, and it's one of the last freak shows around with like actual freaks in it. Like like the old way with like deformed people and stuff. It's I don't know. It has potential to be really scary, and that's definitely why I watch that show. That's probably one of the scariest shows on TV.
It's definitely this one. Like other than probably The Walking Dead. It is by far like one of the scariest thrillers on TV. It's kind of surprising. Yeah, and I noticed now like a lot of television shows just kind of reboot, and it's gonna be interesting. I haven't seen all of True Detective, but I do know that Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey aren't. You haven't seen it all? No. I watched all of it in within 24 hours. Really? I started it on like noon one day, just like I was like, oh, I'll try this. Yeah. And then I watched like almost all of it that entire day until I was so sleepy I couldn't stay awake. Woke up and watched the rest of it as soon as I woke up. He was so good. Put in work, man. Well, it's like what 8 or 10 hour. Well, it's HBO, so they're give or take hour long. I mean, it wasn't like a huge. It wasn't watching Lost, that's for sure. Yeah. Stevie Nicks. Oh, I thought Stevie Nicks ruined. Like when she was in there, I was like completely annoyed. You didn't like Stevie Nicks? No, because like they had like a whole like 5-minute scene just her singing a song. Yeah, that was kind of. I was weird. Like, what? Just because you can get Stevie Nicks doesn't mean you should put her in your show like a music video. Like, what is like make it a web excuse? I don't know what is going on here. That was the only part of Coven that I was like, Yeah. But no, overall, it was a cool show. So far, we've done The Haunted House. Yeah. We've done Insane Asylum. Season 2 was, or season 3 was Witches. Now it's a freak show. Now we got Freak Show. So every year that they like release what the topic or like what the genre is going to be, I'm always surprised because I'm like, what are they possibly going to do next? Yeah. But then they're like, you remember Circus? I was like, oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, they could do Circus. They could do Zombie Apocalypse. They could do all kinds of cool stuff. I don't know. Could they do a Zombie Apocalypse American Horror Story? Totally. I could totally see that. That would be awesome. That'd be way cool. That would be pretty cool. I'd be into that. I mean, they haven't gone vampires. Maybe when True Blood goes off the air, they could. Yeah. Oh yeah, True Blood's in its last season too. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. But I do like the way that they're doing this show. The thing I like the most about season 3 is that all the characters you loved from season 1 came back and did it in season 3 that you maybe didn't see in season 2. Mm-hmm. That was really cool. And I don't know. I assume the show's doing really well on the network too because it
FX
seems
is
like
killing
a lot
it
of
in
people watch
general,
it.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they've got to figure something out because Sons of Anarchy's building up. September 9th is the start of their last season, and that's been a huge show. I still can't believe that they haven't been nominated for an Emmy. Really? At all? No. Really? They have at all. Like in that's surprising. Kurt Sutter, the creator, as soon as they release nominations, he's just like, they have literally something against me at this point because, and he's right. The last season of Sons of Anarchy, I won't tell you what happened because it's a super spoiler, but it was Walking Dead crazy. Really? Like Breaking Bad, like mind blown, like Game of Thrones. Like I did not see that coming. And actually, the same amount of people died as like in a Game of Thrones season. Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. Dang. It was crazy. Like I could not believe it, and it was amazing. I'm really looking forward to this last season. But speaking of shows that are nominated for Emmys, I just found out the other day, and I don't know why I never put this together before when we were talking Emmys last week. But Orange Is the New Black on Netflix is nominated for 12 Emmys this time around. Pretty crazy. 12. Yeah. For a show that's not even on TV. I know. That's insane, right? And House of Cards, they're nominated. Cosmos, Hemlock I think, Grove, got 12 nominations, too. What did? Cosmos. Wow. Yeah. I never saw that coming. So I would say that Netflix is probably here to stay. Netflix is the real deal. They're having great success. Yeah. Yeah, they're doing well. I just read an article the other day that said that Netflix now has 50 million subscribers. Wow. Now think about that. That's number of subscribers. That's my household, nuts. We only have one. Yeah, me too. One Netflix subscription per 4 people. Yeah, that's how we do it. My parents watch off my subscription. Everybody, there's not 50 million people watching Netflix. There's probably way more than 50 million people watching Netflix. But I mean, they had that little tiff a couple years ago with raising their prices, but they've obviously recovered. Their stock is, I think, the highest it's ever been. They're here to stay. And with this, I mean, had I known at the time, I think when they upped those prices back in the day, they didn't have any original programming at all. Had I known at the time that, hey, this is why we're going to do it, because we're going to make these shows that are going to be nominated like this, if somebody had a crystal ball and we could see that, right now I feel like I am getting like a steal deal on Netflix.
Yeah.
Like if they up the price again, it wouldn't bother me in the slightest because I was like, so that means you can make the Power Rangers movie, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or you can remake the remake of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
I don't know, but it's great to see the success they're having. I am just finishing up season 2 of Orange is the New Black, and it is awesome.
Yeah.
Like that is a good show.
Yeah.
And it's one of those shows where it's like, oh, she or someone's painted themselves in the corner. How are they going to get out of this?
Yeah.
You never know quite what's going to happen next. That's kind of why I think I like Game of Thrones, is I'm never sure what's going to happen next.
That's why I won't read the books.
Oh, yeah. No, well, I won't read the books because I ain't got that kind of time. But I mean, those are big books.
They're pretty big books.
But it's awesome. I just think it's great what Netflix is doing. They're obviously changing the landscape in what is being called the golden age of TV. I hope that the golden age of TV sticks around for a long time. But it's kind of funny that this is still the golden age of TV, considering how many crappy reality shows are on right now.
Yeah, well, it's cheaper.
There's still a lot of really good original programming on.
Yeah.
But so you sent me this article, kind of having to deal with Netflix.
Yeah.
About Chelsea Handler deal. Tell me about. I know about it, but tell the listeners what's going on with Netflix and Chelsea Handler.
So Netflix has started a deal with Chelsea Handler. Her show is ending on the Chelsea Lately, and they announced a pact with her last month. The deal encompasses Handler's first hour-long stand-up comedy performance, and it's going to be taped on June 20th. And she's going to start her own late-night TV show on it
on Netflix.
Yeah.
How does that work? Because late night TV is usually those shows where people watch them when they're laying in bed at night, right?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people TiVo and DVR late night.
I
and then they catch up.
DVR Late Night with Jimmy Fallon.
Exactly.
I DVR it every single night. I don't think I've ever watched that show live, but I watch it almost every day.
If Fallon and Kimmel, because I don't have TiVo and DVR, but if Fallon and Kimmel and all them were on Netflix, I'd watch them.
Absolutely.
I totally. So I'm excited.
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Do you think that this could open the door for those guys to be on demand, or do you think that because Netflix is creating this nighttime variety show that with Chelsea Handler that they definitely won't do that?
So I've been doing a ton of research on late night TV because that's eventually where I want to work. And they're, from what I understand, is each of them are highly competitive with each other. So I highly doubt that they would ever go on to Netflix. They'd probably do their own version somehow, maybe like, you pay $2 a month and you get all of them, or something. Like, I'm sure they'll break away and do their own streaming service. I don't think that Fallon will ever be on Netflix or anything like that.
It could
or
be
Kimmel.
Chelsea. Okay, I don't like Chelsea Handler.
Yeah,
I'm just going to throw that out of there. And I don't know how successful Chelsea Lately is. I assume that if it's still on the air and she's the one that's leaving, then it must be pretty successful.
She has a very segmented audience, but of that audience,
but
it's
at the
a
same time,
number.
her making this move, this could be huge.
It's a precedent.
Like this could be a change in how we look at late night TV.
It's a game changer.
Because first of all, you don't have to watch it late night. It is a late night style show, but you don't have to watch it late at night. I assume they're going to do 5 a week.
Yeah,
is that
probably
kind of the idea?
Yeah, probably 4 or 5 a week. Yeah, I'm excited just because I think that's what kills a lot of like up and coming late night shows. Like Russell Brand had one, W. Camille Bell, and like they got killed because they actually went on at late night. If they were available to like stream and watch, then I think. Yeah, I totally would have watched them. And they don't include DVR ratings and Nielsen ratings anyways.
It's so crazy to me that they still go off Nielsen ratings.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's such a weird way to judge who's
archaic.
watching TV. It's really crazy. Because it's so far off. Like, I think they'd be shocked at the difference in the actual numbers.
I bet, honestly, I don't know, man. I bet they pay to keep it that way. You never know.
They probably do because there's probably a lot of shows that are doing a lot worse than they think they are. There's probably a lot of shows that are up and coming that are doing a lot better than they think they are.
Yeah, always. They always cancel.
I'm surprised that Netflix doesn't put out numbers like this is how many people have watched an episode of so-and-so or have watched Netflix, you know?
I think it's a power move. I think that gives them so much more negotiating power by not letting out the numbers because then they can bring on content and shows.
Yeah, but Netflix is going to change that.
Yeah,
50 million subscribers, dude.
Dude, they're bringing on shows that ABC had a show called Mixology. It got canceled. It's now on Netflix. I finally sat down and watched it. Show's amazing.
Yeah,
you would love it. You should watch it sometime.
Yeah.
It's great.
But that's the thing is there's shows that if not promoted right, they don't even come across your radar.
Yeah, Mixology.
And so they get canceled. Firefly, they get canceled before they even should.
Mixology was on my station, and I never watched it. I work there.
Insert any Joss Whedon TV series ever gets canceled before it should have.
Yeah, always.
Oh, man. But this is cool, and I understand that there's kind of is Chelsea lately kind of on a move with them with this net neutrality thing as well.
Yeah. Like I like how outspoken Netflix has become. Like, you know, like they talk smack.
Well, they're in the internet. They're in the Wild West where you can say and do whatever you want. Still.
Yeah, no one can control them. Like they don't have to. They don't have like the traditional advertisers to worry about.
Right.
Like they can say what they want and not worry as much about losing stuff. Like, I mean, they posted about Verizon, you know, throttling their internet under net neutrality
I saw that.
laws.
That little
shots fired.
Netflix is like, it's running slow right now, but not because of Netflix. It's because you have crappy Verizon internet right now. Like,
shots fired, man.
It's good. They should fire those shots across the bow because it's going to hold these corporations that are trying to lock down the internet to a way higher standard. And there's been this huge thing. I don't know if you watch. John Oliver has a new show on HBO.
Yeah.
He did like an entire 20-minute segment on that show about net neutrality and basically the corruption of these companies that are trying to make it so that we will have to pay to use the internet. And these are all like Comcast, mostly Verizon.
And it's affecting Netflix. They want a piece of Netflix's money. They're like, we're going to charge you
Why
more.
do you think they're doing it, though?
Why?
Comcast, who owns ABC. These big guys all own something in network, and they know that Netflix and Amazon Prime and these guys are not only, you know, maybe using up some more bandwidth than they normally would, but they're straight up taking their viewers off their TV waves.
Yeah, and they're competing with them. That's like it's a political move, man.
Yeah. And I don't know. I kind of feel like podcasting did the same thing for radio.
Yeah.
You know, but radio didn't even realize the rug had been pulled out from underneath
I'll be honest, radio got greedy long before podcasts came along. They've been syndicating and, you know, getting rid of DJs left and right. And now, like, it's a little bit different, you know. Now, podcasting kind of gave us the freedom to hear from different people.
It's interesting to see what guys like Howard Stern and Adam Carolla's of the world, what they did when they saw kind of the radio as the ship's going down. We're gonna basically create our own versions of Netflix, and we're gonna basically sell our own pirate ships, as Adam Carolla calls it.
Podcasting were just the nail in the coffin, but it wasn't the whole coffin. Radio was on its way out. Sirius Radio, I mean, you know, iHeartRadio, it changed everything.
I don't have to work at a radio station to do this show.
Yeah, I know.
And I can talk about whatever I want to.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if anybody listens.
Yeah.
I like that everybody out there listening right now listens. I really love that you guys listen.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Because it's fun to interact with you guys, but I remember when we first started this show, we had like 6 listeners or however many it was the first week that we did this show. And, you know, now we've got thousands of listeners.
It's way cool.
It's really cool to see it done on your own back kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's not that, people listen to you because they flipped you on the airwaves and you're the only thing on at that time of day or whatever, but people go out of their way to download this show, download podcasts. They go out of their way to watch Netflix shows. And I think it's a really good meter on what the people who consume media want. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So hopefully it just keeps growing. Hopefully net neutrality doesn't shut all this down. I know Adam Carolla right now is in a huge battle with the patent trolls over them trying to say that they own all podcasts ever on the internet and recorded media, which is
patent trolls is a huge thing that's getting out of hand.
Yeah,
it's such a huge hassle. It's like a huge epidemic no one knows about.
Yeah.
And it's ruining everything. It's the worst.
I don't. To say the law system is out of control, I think is an extreme understatement for the most part. But we're still here right now. We'll keep doing the show as long as we can. So until they tell us, Comcast comes and knocks on my door and tells me, and then I'll still play.
Yeah,
I'm still gonna play Beastie Boys, and when they come,
sabotage.
But thanks for listening to the show. That's all we got for you this week. Anything else to add?
Yeah. I just want to take a moment. I just want to say a couple things. I want to thank you, Ryan, so much for everything that you've done for me these past couple years over here at KU. Like, you took me under your wing. You taught me about podcasting. You gave me those books, podcasting and WordPress, and you've always been here for me. And you brought me on your show, and I'm really grateful.
You are absolutely welcome.
Yeah, and I really appreciate it.
It has been no skin off my back, I assure you. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm always willing to help people that need help.
Yeah.
I've had listeners that listen to the show be like, I want to start my own podcast. How do I do it? And I'll be like, here's the keys on how.
Yeah,
you
showed
It's not
me.
easy.
No, it's so
it takes
much work.
a lot of learning. It's very technical, but anybody can do it. There's no reason that I'm not saying everyone should do it.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I kind of look back at, and one thing that I think this show is gonna be cool for is 20 or 40 years from now, I'll be able to go back and listen to these shows. My kids will be able to listen to these shows. These are recordings of me and my friends and my family and whoever doing this show will be around forever.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, especially if I just keep them online.
Yeah.
They'll be around for everybody to listen to and to download. But you're absolutely welcome. It's been awesome seeing the success that you guys have had over there with Old Ute Radio.
Oh, it's been
you
crazy.
At ABC4. I mean, it's really cool.
Yeah, I got a lot of cool stuff on the way. Stuff I can't talk about. But you guys just stay posted. You can follow me on Twitter at Johnny McKeon, Instagram at Johnny McKeon, Facebook at Johnny McKeon. You can listen to the radio show I produce. It's Old Ute Radio. It's on KUradio.org. It's on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6 p.m. live. You can listen at KUradio.org. And check out my interview on the I Am Salt Lake podcast at IamSaltLake.com. It's episode 155. I'm very proud of that episode. I'm very honest and very open, and it really shows a side of me that I think a lot of people haven't seen.
That's cool.
So
I'm gonna listen to it.
It's really good. I'm really proud of it.
Speaking of shows we produce, I don't think I've talked about this at all in this show. Although if you listen to this show, you've heard the preview there. You're probably wondering why there's that strange but awesome preview / trailer / promo for a show called Extreme Genes. I actually produce what is now a nationally syndicated radio show called Extreme Genes that's done by a guy named Fisher, and he's been in morning radio here in Salt Lake for about, I think, almost 35, maybe 40 years.
Wow.
I mean, he's been on the radio forever. And back when I worked at Clear Channel, he came to me and kind of said, I want to do this show. I don't know anything about podcasting. I have some contacts to get this syndicated, but I basically can talk in front of the mic. You need to edit, put it together, turn it into a podcast, kind of build some steam with the ship. And now, I mean, we're getting almost 10,000 downloads a month on that show.
That's awesome.
Just the podcast. And we're syndicated in I think we're on 18 radio stations around the United
incredible.
States.
Congrats, man.
I mean, it's really cool.
That's
that's been a lot of fun. It's a show that he's always been big into family history and genealogy, and he's just like, I'm just going to do a 1-hour variety show about that. Just like you,
Cool.
like he listened to my podcast. He's like, I don't understand why I don't just do that,
Yeah.
Instead of doing voice tracking for oldies here in Salt Lake, which is what he does now. He just, brings in whatever those bands and songs are that are on oldies. But
Cool.
so we put together this show, and I've been a part of it since the very beginning, and I kind of produce the whole thing for him. I still do it. I'll still do it after I go to Texas, because that's the wonder of digital media, is you can do it all basically from far away.
And you can always have me on again.
Yeah,
we could do
absolutely.
it over the thing. I'd always love to come on.
Let's do it. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna have you guys on. I'm still trying. Will is still settling down out in Atlanta. I'm gonna get him on again. Because I'm sure he's got, like you, it's like the only time we talk outside of this, but we don't talk like this, which I think is the best part about podcasting is if you ever want to get to know your friends, or if there's somebody you want to get to know, start a podcast with them. Or start a podcast and ask them to do it with you every week or whatever, because that is a great way to build a relationship with somebody.
Yeah, for real, man.
It's great. It's a lot of fun. Thanks for listening to Geek Revolution Radio every week. I really appreciate it. Anything else, Dad?
Watch the news, ABC4, between 4 and 10 every night. I shoot the news. It's really cool. And also, I'm on a sports show called Real Sports Live. That's Sunday at 10:30 on ABC. It's actually a really cool show.
Oh.
I work on that as well. So tune in.
Sweet. That's cool. I'll check those out. Anyway, you can follow me on Twitter at Geek Rev Radio. We're, of course, on the Facebooks at facebook.com/Geek Revolution Radio. And until next week, live long and prosper, and may the force be with you always. Seriously, geekrevolutionradio.com.